Hello and welcome to the second installment of my Gay Rights to Marry advocation. In the last advocation video, I spoke of um, how marriage was not solely a Christian institution and how it would not harm the psychological well-being of the family circle. And I mentioned the fact that some of the states here in the United States, as well as several countries worldwide, have gone to recognizing partnerships between homosexual couples, calling it domestic partnerships or civil unions. And while this is a very nice gesture on the part of these governments, it's still the fact that it is a secondary, cheapened, and non-equal act which denigrates, degrades, and lessens our roles as citizens of the world. To state that we do not have the right that everybody else has simply because we are different. It's no different than what we have done in the past as human beings. In the past, it was said that women were less intelligent than men, that women were not as strong as men, and that women did not have the mental capacity of a man. Thus, they were forbidden several of the rights that we as human beings hold true. They were not given the right to vote in the United States for their leaders. In many countries, they were not allowed to rule that country without a man at their side. And in some cases, they weren't allowed to rule at all. They had to marry, and they had to turn that kingdom or that ruling house over to their newly appointed husband, and they would have no say in it whatsoever. They were not permitted, at one point in time, they were not permitted to decide whether they were going to have children or not. They had no choice. They were meant for that sole purpose, to bear children. In many parts of the world, they were not allowed to even own a business or make money. Now we have grown all over the world. Most of the world now recognizes the rights of women and recognizes them as equals to men. And even a sad point of history in our own past here in the United States, there was a time that people of color were somehow told that they were lessened, that they were cheapened, that they were not on the same level as everybody else. They were denied the same basic rights, even down to the right of freedom. They were treated as slaves to their masters. They were denied the right to vote. They were denied many rights. Even after slavery was abolished, they were still treated as less than equal. They were forced to go to different schools. They were forced to drink from different water fountains, use different restrooms, eat at different restaurants, and riding on public transportation, they were not allowed to sit near the front. They were forced to sit closer to the back. It was not fair. Yet, now, here we are. And they have not only gained the same rights as everybody else, but now we even have a man of color as president of these United States. That shows you that our precedents, that our prejudices have been put aside. That the simple fact that you are of color or that you're a woman doesn't matter. You're still entitled to the same rights and abilities as everybody else. Back during the slave times, the African American wasn't even allowed to marry. It was a Christian institution that was reserved for mankind, and the African American was considered to be not entirely human. They were not equal to us, and thus they were not entitled to equal rights to marriage. Yet that has changed. Now, we sit here, we look out, and we see a community of homosexuals, gays, lesbians, bisexuals, and transgendered individuals who are crying out to be recognized as equal citizens under the law. And we have every right that every other American has. We can vote. We can drive cars. We can own businesses. We can travel the world. But the most basic of rights, the right to create and sustain a family that is of equal basis to every other family in the world, is denied from us, is told that it is not for us, that it is reserved for something higher, something better. In essence, by denying us the right to marry, you are telling us that we are not equal to you, that we are somehow less than equal to you. How arrogant do you think you are to state that you are the only one who can marry because you are better than us? And don't say that is not what you are implying, that that's not what you are saying. Maybe not consciously, but the implication is there. To deny us the right to marry one another is to say that we are imperfect and that you are above us. Thus, that right is reserved solely for you, because it is for the perfect, that it is for those who are above. You are claiming that you are better, and I tell you, you are not. Simply put, you try to appease us, and you try to silence us by recognizing our unions and giving us many of the rights that everyone else has by calling it something other than marriage. But the simple fact still remains, it is not marriage. It is a separate institution that was created specifically for us, thus indicating we are different and somehow less than perfect. On my next installment, I will tell you a story. It's a story that's been repeated several times and in many different formats. This is very important. Perhaps with this, you will understand just how important it is that the homosexual community receive the same rights under the law as everybody else. With that being said, and with that being completely handed out, for this particular segment, I have only one more parting word, one more parting piece of advice, one more parting thing to say. Marriage is not for one specific people. The world was created, whether by design of some greater power or some higher intelligence. The world was created, and everything within it was created. And if everything that was in it was created and has come, then every action and every attitude and every desire was created and has come from the same place. So if it came from love, how can it be wrong? All we want is recognition. It took an upheaval, a great upheaval, for women to be recognized as equals. It took a great upheaval for the African American community in the United States to become recognized as equal. It's been said, if you don't learn from your mistakes, you're doomed to repeat them. We have repeated the same process twice. We put down women, they upheaved against us, and they gained their rights. We put down the African American community, they rose up against us and gained their rights. Let us hope that it will not take another riot for the gay community to get the rights and earn the respect which they deserve. Till next time, signing off.